Once again, Pippin, this is actually my seat, and I was about to sit in it. So if you could vacate, that'd be good. Hello and welcome to the channel. My name is Annalisa and this is going to be my December half wrap-up. I'm not going to be doing a part 2 because I'm going to be doing 2 vlogs for the last half of December that I will include all my reviews in. And it's probably going to seem like I'm a little bit brief and rushed during this video because this is the second time I'm recording it. And I'm very frustrated that I got all the way halfway through the 5th book out of 5 that I'll be reviewing, and then the memory card failed and deleted all the footage. So I'm going to try to say what I said last time more efficiently about this headband. It is from Watani Jewelers, and the website is on here, but I will also link it below. And they have a bunch of accessories, but also just full-on clothing items, and they're out of stock of a lot of stuff because a lot of people have been buying from them, which is great. They are a Palestinian company, and I will also be linking below a few other Palestinian owned companies that I have been buying from. And after Christmas I'm going to be doing a 12 days of Christmas of a video every day, just a little video most of the time, and one of them is going to be a haul of the fun things that I have bought from these Palestinian owned businesses. So my first review is Sick Kids in Love by Hannah Moskowitz. This is 2 Jewish kids, both of whom are chronically ill. One has rheumatoid arthritis, one has Gaucher disease, which is a disease where you don't have a certain enzyme that breaks down old cells, which means that old cells build up in your bone marrow and your spleen and all sorts of things, and they make it hard to make new red blood cells, and you get swollen and stuff. Both of these are very uncomfortable and tend to make you tired. RA is pain in the joints caused by the immune system attacking the body. And this is their love story. And there's a lot of talk about ableism and healthy people not understanding invisible illnesses. And the hero has a family who is very supportive and very educated and really understands a lot of things. And the heroine has a dad who is a doctor but really doesn't understand things, which is very common for doctors. They tend to be super uneducated about chronic diseases and have really bad attitudes. So I like the contrast between those two, and I like their love story. I liked how they both had flaws and bad ways of handling things, but I like the way that those difficulties were ultimately managed, and I gave it 5 stars. Then another romance that I actually read in November, Weird Blood by Azalea Crowley. I read the first 2 books in this series, Odd Blood and Strange Blood, a little earlier this year. Azalea Crowley is an indigenous Hawaiian Kanaka Maoli, and her main character is a mixed race Asian and white autistic 30-year-old woman who doesn't necessarily know she's autistic, and she doesn't get diagnosed in the book, but the author has said that she figured out from reader feedback that the main character is autistic, and Azalea Crowley is also autistic, so its own voices, and the main character is also demisexual, and Azalea Crowley is on the asexual spectrum. So there's lots of reasons for me to really love this main character, and I did. The first 2 books, the prose was a little awkward, but it got better and better with each book, and now there's hardly any awkward prose, and I really enjoyed it. The romance continues to be really sweet. It is with a vampire who our main character is the caregiver, becomes the caregiver for his ward, who is a elderly vampire who was changed when she was old, and she already had dementia, and that interacted kind of strangely with the vampire bite, so now she kind of has magical dementia. And I really liked the way that having a caregiver is represented, and how the main character works to make sure that she doesn't impinge on Norma's independence all that much, while still making sure that she does the caregiving that Norma needs. I have never had a caregiver in that way. I need financial support, but not necessarily physical and administrative support, but I have been a caregiver. So that's my perspective on things, and I also enjoy the rest of the household. There is another vampire character and a spirit character, and I really love how it's a found family. It's shown that living together with people you love doesn't have to be romantic. It can just be a platonic, very strong bond that you have with your housemates, and I love that. And each book has some kind of mystery element where our main characters are at risk and we have to figure out what the problem is and how to solve it to save our main characters, and I really liked how that was handled in this last book, so I gave it 5 stars. Sabrina and Karina by Callie Fajardo and Steen, who writes Indigenous and Latina characters, and I'm not sure how she identifies in that area as an author, but those are the characters she writes. This is a collection of short stories that I felt were very much like vignettes, where they don't really have a story arc. They're kind of just showing a character and a setting and some circumstances, and some things happen, but it doesn't feel like there's a proper ending or anything. But I enjoyed it once I knew that that was what to expect, and I really thought the emotions of the characters and their relationships were really well developed, especially for such a short format. Okay, this is Pippin's Tale. I don't usually have anyone joining me for filming anymore, but yeah, he decided to jump up here and check things out. There he goes. Yeah, there's themes of death, gentrification, racism, gun violence, divorce when kids are in the picture, cousin relationships, and I enjoyed it quite a bit, so I gave it 4 stars. Little Bird by Larita Dixon is just a little bit under 300 pages, and it is a story about a girl who flees on a small boat from Syria, which is being blown up, and somehow gets on this boat all the way to the US. Now, if you look at a map, you'll find that it makes sense that most Syrian refugees, in fact, end up in Europe, because Syria is on the far eastern side of the Mediterranean Sea. So making it all the way through the Mediterranean and across the Atlantic on said pitiful boat is not very likely. I don't know what the story was based on, if it was based on people who actually landed in Europe, or if it was based on some people who got to the US in some other fashion, or if that's a real thing that happened. But that was a bit of a weird part. Hello, Pippin. He likes stuffed animals, so sometimes he will pick stuffed animals off the top of this bookshelf and throw them on the floor. In any case, this girl, whose nickname is Little Bird, ends up in the US. Yeah, that's a stuffed animal. And is in a hospital and is treated quite well by the hospital people. Stop it. And ends up going into foster care, and I think it's a very good representation of foster care in the US, where there are really terrible foster families and there are really good ones, and the foster system is really terrible at weeding out the bad ones and taking care of that problem. There are not enough foster families available, and so they will take anyone, and it's really bad. My family fostered, so that is my window into it, and I've done a fair amount of research and followed fostering parents and also children who grew up in the foster system, because I would like to be a foster parent at some point. I will link below a few foster parents and former foster children and adoptees, because if you want to know about that, those are the perspectives that you want, especially the ones of the children, the grown-up now children. But anyway, I thought it was a really good representation from my perspective. It was very depressing to read for the first 100 or so pages. After that, it was a little easier, and I really enjoyed a fair number of the characters, and I really like the themes of healing and love and kindness and taking care of people that were in it. So I ended up giving it 4 stars. Oh, that was an arc that I got from someone who I met on TikTok, the author. Then we have Freedom is a Constant Struggle by Angela Davis. This is a collection of essays, speeches, and interviews from Angela Davis, who speaks about the connection between the struggle for Black liberation and the struggle for Palestinian liberation. I'm pretty sure she quoted injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere, and we're not free till we're all free. And yeah, there's stuff about abolition in there. There were a lot of concepts that I heard before, but these were really well explained and it was very accessible. While you can tell that Angela Davis knows so much and has thought so much about this and has like studied lots of theories, she still doesn't talk in such a way that you can't understand without also having read a bunch. She makes it very accessible that way, so I really appreciate that, and I gave it 5 stars. So those are all the books that I read in the first half of the month, plus a couple from the end of November. I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Say bye, Pippin! Bye bye!